And mini extravaganza keeps a rolling, rolling, rolling. Here we go, here we go. Fearless and inventive painting time with Dallas. Let's do this now. It's time to paint. Hey, Tony.
Hello.
We're going to paint some Fearless and Inventive Squad Pack for mini extravaganza. We just talked about the Squad Pack and the roadmap for Shatterpoint. And we thought it'd be really fun to just go ahead and kick it over and just start painting on this. So I have all 4 of the characters queued up, primed, ready to go. We're just going to paint. We're going to talk about stuff, discuss some of the painting philosophy. I think I want to start with Luke. Should we start with Luke? I want to start with Luke. Let's do the mini cam and start painting Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker. As we discussed in the previous panel, he has 2 build options. Oh, Tony, I can't see the chat.
Oh, sorry. Here you go.
He has 2 build options, as discussed in the previous panel. I went for the Emperor's Throne Room battle scene against Vader build, because I thought it was pretty cool. But he also has the indoor tunic look as well. He's got a glove on and a not glove on. So we're just going to start painting up this Luke Skywalker. How exciting was that previous panel, if you watch that? Like the roadmap to Shatterpoint. Super exciting, right? Yeah, tunic is when he arrives at Jabba's palace. And then this is the Emperor's Throne Room jacket look. This is one of those, like, such an iconic pose. That 2-hand block feels so good. Oh, I never remember what we were saying because we're just making stuff up. It's unplanned. I'm the worst person to ask. What were you saying 5 minutes ago? I don't know. Just a little. We're gonna call this Luke Peach flesh tone. How in depth should we go on this Luke today?
How do you mean?
Like, should I go hard or fast?
Well, that sounds like something for chat to decide. My own vote is hard.
Mm-hmm. What exciting stuff has been? Lots. There's lots. Unfortunately, you can go back and you can watch all the reveals on video on demand. Want a nice base coat to the skin. Painting wrong colors annoy the diehard. We paint stuff in weird colors all the time because they're miniatures and they're your miniatures, and you should paint them however you want. And that's totally okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Do a little gray. Full denim. When does Luke in a pink shirt and jeans? Luke Ranch Walker. I'm going to do a blue-gray to start. And I'm going to use my zenith to kind of guide where this layer goes. So I'm not glazing. I'm actually using this as a literal guide to where this first color goes.
So does that just mean that you're only painting it in the light areas and not the shadow?
Yep, painting it in the light areas, not the shadows. Usually we do a lot of glazy type painting. We're gonna actually use the zenith as just a guide instead of a underlayer today. I'm doing something different, Tony. We're going crazy today. It's day 2.
I'm here for it.
I stayed up too late. I got up too early. It's like a convention around here. He needs a big hat. I don't have a big hat for Luke Skywalker. Marco, sculpt me a hat and bring it to me. So the idea here will be to reinforce all this darkness, or reinforce all this lightness, and then go in and darken it all up as we progress. Steal a Cad Bane hat? Yeah, that's a good idea. Write up for the announcements? I have no idea. That is a marketing question. Do we do write-ups for the announcements? I don't even know if we do that. Just painting on the highlights. No one really said except for crazy pink colors. So I'm gonna paint this I'm gonna paint this, I think. Unless y'all make me stop. Because I also have an R2-D2 over here. Yeah, this has this squad pack has several options. Luke and Jim Jams. Naptime Luke. Yeah, kind of like the Death Star tunic. Bouchelet, Chef's Kiss, Thrawn, Hondo, Spectre Squad, IG-11, love it all. You know what? We love it all too. Weirdly. Is Tech Lee in the chat? Tech Lee knows that. Even if I didn't work here, I'd be playing this game with him. Gonna put Leia's head on Boosh outfit. No, we said she has that option. Boosh Leia has that option. Lando has a head option. R2 has drink tray or not drink tray option. This is a paint stream, not a unit card stream. Sorry. Back to the face again. Let's darken it up with some shadows. I need some red, gonna use burnt red. Cause that's the color I said. Because it was right in front of my face and it's all I could see. And it's good enough for red for me for what I'm about to do. There's only one option for Han, and that's Scruffy. Let's do a little touch of red in the base flesh tone. And it makes a very red color. And then we're going to put a little of this glaze medium in there. Yes, yes, yes. Just like that. We're going to use this to shade his skin. I got a new brush. I've been complaining about my brush for like, oh my gosh, how long now? Like 3 months. I got a new brush, and lo and behold, it's got a splinter. It's just frayed. Oh no, what's happening, Tony?
You're fine. I'm just making an adjustment.
Are you making it better?
That's always the goal.
That is always the goal. We talked about that in the dev chat earlier, just a few minutes ago. Like, it's always the goal to just be better. No one here claims to be perfect, but we do claim that we try to get better. And the first step of getting better is to understand that you're not perfect. And mistakes, just like in painting, mistakes are okay. It's just a natural part of the creative process and the subjectivity of art. Tony and I talked about the subjectivity of art yesterday in the Worthy panel. Don't let that get on there. A little more red. Talk to me, chat. Is this what we want to see? I want to paint the heck out of this Luke Skywalker, I think.
Yeah, it looks like you're doing a go-to flesh recipe for his face, yeah?
Yeah, if you've joined any of our painting streams where we go over flesh tones, no matter what flesh tone you choose, because there's no wrong color, but there is sort of a philosophy that I have to make miniatures pop. I'm using that same philosophy. I've done my base color. I got a nice amount on there, and I've added a little red to that. Red adds life. Is this a Shatterpoint sculpt or Legion? This is a Shatterpoint sculpt. This is from the Fearless and Inventive Squad Pack. Coming. It's got Lando, Leia, R2-D2, Luke Skywalker. It's one of those really fun ones to work on. Okay, I think I like that. I need a little bit across that bottom lip. This little red color across that bottom lip. Well, that's the question, Zed. That is the question. I have all 4 of them primed and ready to go. And the question is, we have an hour and a half. And I can do a little bit on each. I can do a whole hour and a half on one miniature. We can pick and choose different things. Rifle. Fortunately, the terrain for Shatterpoint works for Legion. And you only need like 2 squads to play Shatterpoint, so it wouldn't be that bad. R2-D2, want to see a little R2-D2? We can do a little R2-D2. Go ahead and mix a little green into my base flesh tone now. Once again, a little more mixed medium. Mixed medium makes it translucent, like skin. Probably no new bases. Not for the foreseeable future. And we don't talk about any potential future releases around here. We talk about stuff when they're ready. A little green in the shadows, going right over top of the red. That green over red makes a brown. Rifle, I would never be the one to say, like, yeah, you should totally do it, because, I'm biased, obviously. But I'm also a person that I believe in joy. Do it while it's time. When you start painting, do you have a reference or an idea you're headed towards, or is freestyle? It depends on the project. A lot of times I am just kind of freestyling, making it up. This is Jedi Knight Luke, so we all kind of know what this looks like. It's black clothes, Mark Hamill. So I don't really need a reference, but definitely when I'm doing something more, what's the word? I definitely believe in references. Definitely believe in references. References are, everybody in the studio uses them. You want to make sure you get things right. I'm kind of yellowing it, but it's a black tunic. What makes you think this is a non-canon Luke? That's my first question. Vanguard. What makes you think that this is a non-canonical Luke Skywalker?
Dallas, if you were going to do a non-canonical Luke Skywalker, what's the first thing that comes to your mind as far as what you might change?
I would probably do a white costume. I think it's kind of my first thought. I could definitely see something more brown as well. You could do full Sith Luke.
All right, now I need you to paint me up a full Sith Luke.
Full Sith Luke. I mean, the guy wears black. Vanguard was asking Kevin, you can paint it however you want. You can paint it. That's the joy of miniatures.
I think you just need some wicked face paint then. Black outfit with some face paint.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Some wicked Sith tattoos. You can paint. That's the joy of miniature hobby is the ability to interpret and do what you want. You do not have to paint canonical. You know, you can interpret and do your own version. I'm like a member of KISS. This Luke Skywalker is in a band whose logo you can't understand. I was just gonna paint canonical Luke. I'm gonna be real honest. That's kind of what I was gonna do. And the idea here is I use that Zenith Prime as a guide to lay down my first layer, which was a very light blue. Then I'm blending over a darker blue black, and I'm just going to keep adding black. This is just paint. This is just acrylic paint. Oh, I'm on mute. You can't hear me say that. But somebody can say that. Boo 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 doo 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 doo, turn down acrylic paint, yeah, yeah. We're gonna do a little bit on this and then we'll switch over to R2D2. How's that sound? You can do it too. Believe in the me that believes in you. Like, I know no one likes to hear it, but like, this one trick will make you the best painter in the world. The one trick is failing. That is the one trick. Paint so much, so often, that you fail so many times. Fail more times than many people even begin. That is the path to true success. I like to bring this up with Josh, right? It's like, okay, I gotta drop my hoodie. Yeah, failure is a far better teacher than success. I always told my kid growing up, you can't learn by winning, kid. You can't learn by winning. You know, if you just do something and you immediately succeed, you don't get the moment where you have to come in and question how the success was achieved. You know, the human brain just goes, yep, well, just nailing it. Just the best. By failing, you have to start to ask the questions of why did I fail? You have to start asking others for advice. You have to start seeking answers. And these are all important to the process of the path of true success. You know, I talked to Josh a lot about this kind of stuff. And one of the ones I like to bring up is like, think about your favorite band. Okay, everybody's got their favorite band in their head right now. Tony's got some 90s crunchy grunge riff ripping through his head. Right? Think about how many songs that band has started that you've never heard because it wasn't good enough to go on the album. Right? Think about how many half-written riffs that band has. You know, authors. How many half-hearted attempts at a book? How many, athletes? You know, how many attempts to hit a bullseye before the bullseye became natural? And, you know, miniature painting is a hobby, and it should be fun and relaxing. But if you're at the point in the hobby where you're like, I want to get good, then you have to start asking yourself, well, how many times am I willing to fail? I'm willing to fail a lot. And to be perfectly honest, I have failed a lot. I've failed at so many things. Tony, you know I was a sawyer?
You were a sawyer?
I was a sawyer.
That doesn't surprise me, but I don't think I actually knew that.
I was a sawyer before, once. I cut wood staves. You know? And so I had to get to where I am, I had to practice, I had to ask questions, I had to push, had to fail. And now I'm no longer a sawyer.
So one thing that has been coming up in the chat a little bit that I can relate to is that you're working very fast.
Yeah.
At least to, you know, the perception of a lot of other painters, and myself included. And so I guess the question is, you know, what are some of the things that, like, where does that speed come from? If you're not actively trying to do it quickly, how do you develop speed?
How do you develop speed? Learn to trust the process, right? Tony, you and I talk about this quite a bit, you know, learning to trust the process, you know. I'm not going to throw you under the bus, Tony, but can we talk real?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Like, you and I said it, I think it was yesterday. It's like, it's amazing how very similar you and I are, but at the exact same time, we are totally opposite in approach.
That's true.
I am get in there and I'm just going to make a decision and I'm going to roll with the decision. And I think I told the story a little bit once to you, Tony, is like, I worked in the restaurant industry for a long, long time. And my very first boss who started training me for management told me, you're going to make a lot of choices and they're going to be wrong. But I'm going to defend those choices until you get them right. And that was a huge relief off me to know that I was, quote, quote, allowed to fail. There we go. And you are a very analytical person when it comes to the approach.
True.
Which I always find so fascinating, because I said it yesterday as well, is you are one of the most practiced artists I've ever met. Like, you are, and you know, take the compliment there. Like, you very much, you love practicing and learning about your craft. And I kind of get in there and just kind of make the mistake as I go along. But also, I just trust the process. And you know the process too. You know how to make something look like it's painted black. And so I just like trust, like, you know what? I'm going to do this and I'm going to use a weird color I've never used before, but I can keep moving. And I know deep down in my heart of hearts what I'm supposed to do, and I'm just going to keep working till I get there.
Right.
Instead of analyzing, okay, well, what's this next step? How do I do this? I'm just like, look, I just got to keep adding black. And if I add too much black, then I highlight again, you know? We'll just highlight again. It'll be fine. I have a very it'll be fine attitude, I guess. It'll be fine. It's just a little miniature. It's just a little army guy. How bad can you really mess it up? And honestly, I love people's mess ups more than anything else. Like, I truly do. I have miniatures from way back in the day, and they are bad. Like, I'm not even talking like subjectively bad. I'm talking objectively bad paint jobs. But those are watermarks, right? You know, those are the points where I was like, I don't know how to paint black, and I'm going to try this, or I'm going to try this, or I read about this, or I'm gonna do this. And you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with the analytical approach until it becomes a hindrance, right? And I'm not saying that about you, Tony. I'm talking now just in general to the people. Like, once it becomes a hindrance, then it's like, okay, well, you need to pull back a little bit. And honestly, sometimes I need to come back a little bit and just be like, whoa, let's stop with the willy-nilly gung-ho-ness here, and let's get a little more technical. And I do that when I start painting like something like a competition or competition piece. I'll get way more analytical. Yeah, I love benchmark miniatures. One of my best friends, go to their house and do the game of pull out miniatures and just be like, look how cringe this is. Yes, it's so bad. Why is it so bad? You're the worst painter in the world. Look at that. Oh, it's the best. Just fantastic. That's okay. Okay. Now we got some black on there. But we kept that undercoat just a little bit. Let's do green and red mixed together. Take a little bit of this orange in there too. Oh, that line got way too wide. It's alright, we can pull back on it. Cut back on that line just a little bit. Got a little out of hand. A little bit darker. We're just making some stuff up. We're painting faces. There's no wrong way. There's no wrong color. There's a shadow and light. You can mix and match characters from different squads. The rules are the squad has to stay the same era, but the two squads can be different eras. And that forms your strike force. And then your primary has a point value, and your secondary and supports have to add up to the primary's point cost. All right, so we keep going on Luke here or switch to something else? R2, R2. Got 2 votes for R2. That's not enough votes. Come on, chat. You can do better. Don't make me turn this stream around. I'm a father. I know how to turn a stream around. Boost, boost, boost. R2. I'm seeing a lot of R2s. All right, R2 and boost. All right, let's kick it over to R2. Beep, 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 beep. I'm going to start with an ivory. I got the Bright Ivory by Pro Acryl. Get some of that. And we're going to dinge it up just a touch. Tony, I got that stupid long hair on the end of the brush, man. I'm dying.
Do you want another brush?
No, I need to just clip that long hair. Also, it looks like yesterday Oh, you know what the problem is, Tony? I'm using my old brush. I'm the worst. I'm going to keep using my old brush for R2. That'll show Dallas.
Snuck up on you.
I'm going to add a little touch of blue to this, and then a little touch of black. I want to kind of desaturate that. That's pretty punchy. Man, that's not the color I want at all. I need something with a green gray, I think. Or a brown gray. Dark. You gotta mix into the ivory a little. Let's see if this gets me where I want to go. That's the color. There we go. So I used a little dark warm gray. It's got a little brown in it. So the brown and the ivory mixed together. Oh yeah, I will totally wreck that brush once we get out of stream. I usually use a pair of a hobby knife. So honestly, this is where I'd want reference, because the intricacies of R2 are a little hard to remember. But we're just going to give him this coat of this color first. Could have airbrushed in this color. Would have made it easier, but that's not what I did. Scooter-da-doo, boo-boo-boo, boo-doo-doo-doo, boo-doo-doo-doo, little bit of white added to that color. Brighten it up just a little bit for the top spots. Coming down the front, that's what we're gonna do. Yeah, that's what I needed. Thanks, Tony. We had a lot of discussions on how big to make these little flipper flappers on the front of R2 when we were sculpting to make them read. An evil droid. I could never do R2 as an evil droid. I just don't have the heart. He's the hero of the series. A nice coat. You can see I chose to leave the drink tray off. It's just a choice. Just a choice. No big deal. We all get choices. We all like different things. Sometimes you don't like the thing. That's okay. R2 and Lando are support. He needs a silver head. And we need to... Okay, well, let that dry. Boosh! And they all cried out, boosh! And I said, fine. I love this character. Getting this action figure as a child was just the coolest. Like, just love Boosh. All right, I'm not going to make you do it, but I'm going to bring up reference for Boosh. That way we don't have to have two. Or can you do two?
Yeah, it's a little hard for me to control from here.
That's all right. That's all right. I can do it.
Got it?
Yep. This, like Jedi Knight Luke, right? We were talking about references earlier, right? It's like Jedi Knight Luke is one thing. Because it's like, well, what the heck is going on? Because there's a lot going on, right? On Boosh, there's so much going on. There's so many different layers of leathers, and there's just a ton going on. It's like Jedi Knight Luke. Do I need a reference? Not really. He's wearing a black tunic. Not that difficult. He's got a green lightsaber. We all know that. R2 matters if like you're trying to make sure you nail where the silver and the blues go. But Boosh is like I didn't realize, like I already painted that skirt when that's when I said, oh, we need reference. I was like, oh, well, that's just the wrong color. There was lots of Shatterpoint news. Have you checked out the schedule? The news was earlier. And there's more news coming per the schedule. Today, right now we're painting. It's the hobby part of the Hobby Miniatures game. But yeah, the skirt is like a light color, and I totally didn't paint the light color because I just jumped in without looking at a reference. Silly me. So once again, I think I'm going to use the Zenith as more of a guide instead of a way to glaze sort of philosophy here. I'm going to use the same color brown on all these aspects, and then I'm going to change the brown to all the different browns. Except for the skirt, I totally messed that up.
Well, this is one of those places with the zenithal Dallas. I want to point out that, like, normally it's very common to just cover an entire area with a base coat and then shade and highlight, and you're not painting the shadows at all. You'll just go in with a darker paint to cover the shadows, so no need to base coat.
No need to base coat it. Yeah, I'm using the Zenith as a guide instead of like the glaze method we use a lot on our streams. So I'm just not going to put that base coat, as Tony's pointing out, in the shadows. The shadow color will go in the shadows, giving me my shadow color. So I don't even need to put a base coat on everything. Just a waste of time. I do this a lot actually in studio painting too. Like, I know where my shadows are going to go, so I don't base coat everything. But it also just depends on kind of what I'm painting. So that's a lot of just learning technique and being able to interpret what the needs of the miniature is, because every miniature asks you a different riddle, and so sometimes you have to figure out what that question is. Golly, I love this boost miniature. And I just said golly. You missed yesterday's stream. Did you check out the schedule to know when the Legion is?
Those streams should be available on our Twitch channel, and I believe they've been posted to YouTube as well.
It's probably
true. If
true.
you want to go back and watch them.
Oh, Nightbot, you're the best. Everybody takes a picture and then realizes they boffed something up. That's Brennan and I, when we're painting studio miniatures, we'll take photographs and then kind of look at it and then reanalyze what else needs to be done. Like that's actually a good trick to where am I at? Okay, I need to take a picture. I need to do this still. Okay, so we got lots of different colors of leathers here. We got some dark, we got some more orange. Let's start with the dark. So I'm going to start taking some darker brown.
And are you having color thoughts here, Dallas, on your choice outside of just changing the value?
Really kind of not. With leather, I kind of work pretty rough and tumble. I'm going with a very cold brown for these pants and boots. Mainly because I know the helmet has that really warm oranginess to it. So that's a nice contrast to that. And there's already like a slight oranginess to my base color. So by adding that coolness into the shadows, I'm creating a little nice contrast. something to work with there. But any nice dark brown will do what we need it to do here. Right, we're not painting fancy. I'm just gonna make some executive decisions here, just what I want to be brown, dark brown. I don't need to match it. You know what? I don't need to match it. Free yourself. As a great poet once said, free your mind, and the rest will follow. No?
Got me.
Did I get you?
Yeah.
You were all set up like I was being real. I mean, I was being real. Do I recommend Zenith as a superior? I don't think anything is superior. Honestly, I think everybody paints the way they want to paint. I like it, so let's start there. I like it for a couple different reasons. Sometimes I just want a quick way to kind of glaze paint. I do like glaze painting a lot, especially I've gotten older and I'm not doing studio paints. I like to get done, and this allows me some flexibility and freedom to get stuff done because it gives me a good starting point to just glaze over and have that form of the miniature registered already. But then also, like in this instance, I like it because I can see where the shadows and highlights are from the Zenith, and then I can just reinforce with regular painting. But do I think it's superior? I have techniques I like, and I have the reasons I like them. Like I like two-brush blending because it's fast, and when I want to create smooth blends, I can create blends as smooth as an airbrush or smoother with a brush by learning how to two-brush blend. Do I think that's superior? I don't think that's the right word, because every painter has a different style. I would never tell Bohan to change their paint style to be smoother because that's just the way Bohan paints and just looks fantastic,
Well, and also, if we can call something a superior technique, it may not even be superior for all needs. Like you may want to change it up and use a different undercoat for different projects depending on what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer in learning as many techniques as you can and then learning how to apply it in as many different ways as you can. So I love a good mix. Zenith also works really, really wonderfully for our streams because it allows our camera to pick up the miniature easier. So there's like a practical application there as well. We've done streams in the past where we just start with a black miniature and it's just rough. You can't see. Is the black with the eye makeup? Yeah, I think Orthing adds the smudgy black eye makeup when she switches to the black costume. I did the orange costume and I kind of did that anyways, just because I thought it looked cool. Right? It's a miniature. You can make it just look cool. Yeah, wet palette, the intent of the wet palette is to keep the paint damp and workable for long periods of time. It does thin the paint ever so slightly, so if you're used to painting with very thick paint, you do have to get used to that, so it will change your painting style a little bit. But yeah, it keeps the paint. No, it doesn't keep it for days. I made that mistake. Like, don't try to forever fringe your paint. It'll start smelling like a river bottom.
Yeah, after a few days, it's pretty common for it to start to separate and get all weird and funky.
Yeah, the paints will separate. They're not retrievable. So it's to have a long paint sesh and keep those paints flowy. We just mixed a little black into this, dark brown. We're just reinforcing all those elements. With a little deeper shadow. Some separation lines. Yeah, it smells like you kept your palette in an aquarium. That's a very accurate description. Dear, did you clean the fish tank? No, that's your wet palette. Oh God.
Dallas, just for time check, we got about 20 minutes, so.
20 minutes?
20 minutes.
Y'all are always rushing me. Better get your questions in. Does painting with synthetic brushes limit your ability? I try not to use animal fur, but my brushes never keep a very fine point. Does it limit your ability? There are many painters out there that use and swear by synthetic brushes. So am I going to say they limit your ability? I can't honestly say that because there's just evidence of people being able to do so much with that same brush. I prefer myself Kolinsky Sable brushes. I like the way they feel. I like the way they bounce. I like the way they retain a tip. It's what I, learned on. It's what I was trained with. So it's what I'm comfortable with. But there are definitely painters out there that just buy the worst synthetic brushes and are able to pull off some pretty spectacular. James Wapple is probably the best example of that. Like how he does what he does with the level of brush he uses is just insane. But a quality brush does have its perks. They typically last longer. They typically maintain their tip longer. Are they going to make you a better painter? No, but they are going to make what you can accomplish easier to accomplish, I think. That's what I like to say. So if you can draw a fine line, a good brush will make you draw an even finer line. Or maybe not a finer line. It'll just make drawing the fine line that you can already draw easier. That makes sense, right? little highlight. Speaking of fine lines, those lines are fine. You got a synth brush curl. So I'm going to call my vaporwave van.
Brush curl.
Yeah. It's going to be a vaporwave band about painting miniatures. Think nerdcore gunship. I mean, that boot and leg looks pretty good, eh? Let's just change everything. Put a little bit of that white and a little bit of that flesh tone that we used on Luke. Totally bring this back to the color it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a lighter cream color. Okay, we got what, 15 minutes?
About 10 minutes actually.
10 minutes. Keep going on boost, go back to Luke, go back to R2. What are we feeling here, kids? You're my Chewbacca. You're my navigator, chat. Lightsaber? I did a whole video on lightsabers. How many videos do y'all need on lightsabers? I mean, I will paint that lightsaber. So we're starting to like break away and show like we can do different leathers, right? By just kind of using all the same colors, just mixing some stuff together. And this boost is going to go pretty fast at this point. You know, I think you put a little red into that brown and some black. Make it like a really, really, really wonderful umber color. Because these shoulders are super like a dark leather. And this is going to make that leather stand out from all the other leathers. Nice darkness there. Very many leathers is super Star Wars relevant. Yeah. I think you can do, oh yeah. Even a little mouth guard. Eye visor. This is not the eye visor. Eye visor is actually below this.
Dallas, I lied. You've got a few extra minutes because we don't have a stream coming after this. We got a little break coming up.
We got lunch.
Yeah.
We got lunch after this. Technically, I could skip lunch and keep painting, but I think I would get in trouble. I have several people in my life who already get mad when I skip lunch. When I was a kid, I always thought the eye visor was the top one and it looked weird. Yeah. When I was a kid, I thought the same thing. I thought that was the eye visor, and now it's like, oh, well, that's the eye visor. Holy cow, how did we miss that? We did a lot. I want to take a gray now. Do I have a neutral gray? I have a close to neutral gray. Where's that color I picked? There's something about when you get to like that ivory sort of tone, or those lighter whites or tans, throwing a little gray in there, I super appreciate. Loved all the sculpts teased today. Great work. Thanks, TK. We're very happy about them. There's a lot of people putting a lot of passion and hard work into those. And, you know, I think it shows. You know? Not everything is going to, you know, be everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. But we try to make the coolest thing we can make. I always try to think, you know, I don't even try. I'm not gonna. I put myself into the. If I did not work here, would I love this? Or would I be excited by it? And try to think about, like, even a character that might not be my favorite character, it's someone's favorite character, and it deserves the love and attention, right? So, always try to have that attitude. You know, I think most of us here, you know, feel that way. Schick and I have said for, you know, 5 years now, or 4 years now publicly, like, every character is someone's favorite, right? So, you gotta do it. You gotta do it right. This is that two-brush blending that makes it go fast. Because you can put a shade in there real quick and blend it out. Yeah, I'm super excited about the Han. I love the Han. I love the Leia. I love the Ewoks. The Ewoks aren't even my jam, but I gotta admit, I love the Ewoks. That Chewbacca, I think, looks so cool. The Bad Batch? I can't wait for everybody to see the Bad Batch. Those miniatures look phenomenal. Somebody's waiting for Gungans. So far we got 2 Leias. Could there be more? Yeah, that Din Djarin, I cannot wait to get my grubby little paws on that Din Djarin and paint that. Super stoked for that. I like the Grief Karga, and of course the IG-11. I think everybody fell in love with IG-11, right? Let's make this look more leathery by just doing some random lines. It's too bright. You turn it down just a touch. Take a little gray and a little bit of our brown. More appropriate. Just a little edge highlight to break that cape. Yeah, really love IG-11 shooting behind the back. Just really wanted to show that like excellent combat skills of IG-11. So super, super fun miniature. Grief Karga is very much doing like the, if you go back to season 1, they have like the showdown in the bar. And he's kind of holding off everybody on the outside. He's like, and so that was very much the inspiration for Grief. We just ended up just going on Boosh here, just knocking it out. Yeah, Grief Karga like whips those pistols out at it. You know, he's here to throw hands. Well, we need to do a how to paint blue skin stream chat. Just little kisses of like a ochre across those dark leathers for the highlight. Very easy. It's literally, we're using like what, 3 or 4 colors here to achieve all this, and just kind of mixing them in different ways. Very simple, very to the point. She's close to playable. Still need to do a strap, still need to do the back of this helmet. I think we can just use the same brown tones. Tony, am I running out of time?
Yeah, we're right up on top of it.
Right up on top of time. All right, I'm gonna let everybody get final questions, and then we're gonna close it out. We're gonna take a little break. Then Main Extravaganza is gonna keep going. Do we know the next stream? So we can tell the chat what the next stream is.
Next stream is 12:30. Star Wars Shatterpoint: First Steps into a Larger World.
Oh, that's a Schick and Plummer development stuff, right? Yeah. It's always interesting. Something you should definitely check out. Back of her tunic on the bottom. Oh yeah, that's totally missed that. Thank you, Dur. I'm gonna bring that around. Look at that. Blend. Call it a day. Now it looks done. And that's how you blend it up with your cape. Boop, 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 boop. Well, also we need to do the cape up here. We totally missed that. Mod Podge. No. Mod Podge seems way thick. I usually just give a nice dull coat on my miniatures to seal on the paint. Mod Podge feels pretty aggressive to me. There's plenty of formulated things. What? Any mediums? The billing part? Oh yeah, I totally forgot to do the whole underside of that. Yeah, we got more to do on this, but that's not bad. So in our time, we've got that far with Boosh. Any mediums? Oh yeah, I use glaze medium and wash medium from ProAcryl, and water. That's all I really use. I got this far with Luke, not as far. We didn't get very far at all with R2D2. I mean, and my poor Lando didn't get a single color put on him, which just means Simone's gonna be really mad at me. I should have painted Lando. So that's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad. We learned how to paint some leathers. We learned how to paint some blacks. Should I look this way now, Tony?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, so we're going to take a little break. Mini Extravaganza is going to keep going at 12 what?
12:30.
12:30. 1 hour. Be ready for more. We got what is it called again? Can't remember anything.
Oh, the name of the stream?
Yeah, what's the name of the stream? So they know.
Shatterpoint, first steps into a larger world.
First steps into a larger world. So join us then. We'll see you later. Goodbye.